All right, 5:29. How's everybody doing out there? I'm Laurie Ledley. I am the founder and president of Valley Sleep Center. And this is Andrew Neighbors here, our respiratory therapist and clinical sleep educator. Tonight we are talking about, I love this, lions, not lions, tigers, and bears. I say lions and wolves and dolphins. Oh my, what are you? What's your chronotype? I don't know. I messed it up. Oh, well. What's your chronotype? So who knew that we all have kind of an animal that kind of goes with our natural circadian rhythm. So Andrew's going to share about that. So if you have any questions while Andrew is speaking, go ahead and put them in the chat, the comments, the Q&A, wherever you want, and we will answer questions when we're all done. Thank you, Andrew.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Laurie. Yeah, it's interesting to think we all have an animal inside of us and we just got to find a way to let it out correctly. And it's all related to sleep and how we function on a day-to-day basis. Like what sparks our highs and lows during the day? Why are we tired at certain times? Why are we energized? Why does our brain work certain ways? And it's all died into a chronotype, which has been dialed back into animals. Now, I didn't create that. I don't know who decided that you're going to be a dolphin, you're going to be a wolf or whatever, but I can go over with you why, what, and how you have a certain chronotype. So
I can't wait to hear.
Slideshow to see what we got going on here.
Are you going to talk about the test?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
I have two tests to discuss.
I'll be on standby.
Awesome. Thank you, Laurie. All right. So what is your chronotype? I want to first and foremost apologize to everybody because your chronotype isn't something that can be changed or manipulated or adjusted very easily, if at all. I mean, even though there's studies that try to and people work really hard to do it, none of this is your fault, more or less, why you are a certain way. It's a genetic predisposition. So what's your chronotype? Of course, we're all familiar with the early bird, the night owl, and some of us are able to just get up and get out of bed, put their feet on the ground and go, which is a nice quality to have. And some people just drag their butt out of bed. And the first couple hours of the day is just like this sort of situation, which there can be some genetic reasons for this. And there can be just some figurative reasons like, hey, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night and I'm sleep deprived. Everybody's daily schedules work differently with their bodies, and our bodies all work differently in its own right. Our bodies function according to our unique biological clock, which is part of this includes our chronotypes. And it is very important to know what chronotype you are to get a good night's sleep. If you're not familiar with chronotypes, when I go through this whole thing, this slideshow, you're going to get an idea of what preferred chronotype schedule that you may be on, and it can make a huge difference in your quality of sleep and your function during the day. So let's take a look at what chronotypes are and why they're important to our daily function. A chronotype is your body's natural disposition to be awake or asleep. It's closely related to circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms is like a biological clock that tells us, okay, you're waking up, you're getting a little bit of a midday tiredness, and you're going to sleep, and you're having your highs and lows. But this is also dictated by when you wake up. If a person wakes up at noon every day, that's when their circadian rhythms start. If a person wakes up at 6 a.m. every day, that's when their circadian rhythms start. So, and this is closely related to the chronotype of when you are waking and sleeping. And a circadian rhythm it's significantly influenced by light exposure, and it's a lot of times designed to rise and set with the sun. So what it is it means less melatonin is being produced in the morning to help you wake up, and your body's flushing the melatonin out. There's a wake-up period called sleep inertia, which is kind of that grogginess that we wake up to, that our body is kind of pushing this melatonin out of our body, out of our system, and it's just kind of getting jump-started. And of course, we all have experienced a grogginess and a dragging butt sort of situation that drags on throughout a period of time. And unlike circadian rhythms, our chronotype isn't influenced by outside forces except genetics. So it's important to work with your chronotype versus against it. The chronotype just doesn't affect your sleep. It affects all aspects of your day, your appetite, your body temperature, productivity, and of course, our sex drive. Knowing chronotype is extremely helpful for scheduling your day's work or productivity, when you're going to get task-oriented, tasks done and accomplished, and while, when you still have the energy to do them. And of course, if you're experiencing a poor night's sleep or poor sleep quality, it's very possible that you're working against your chronotype instead of with it. And of course, what one person's chronotype is may not work for another person at all. And it's especially true when you have significant others, bed partners that have different chronotypes. Like I hear patients discuss a lot that, oh, my wife doesn't go to bed until like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in bed by 10, and she crawls into bed later. Or you have the patients that are, oh, well, man, my husband likes staying up late, so I stay up late with him. And it's, yeah, you want to do this because you want to spend time, but you're really fighting your sleep, and you're fighting your body's ability to want to sleep when it's supposed to genetically be predisposed to sleep. So what are the 4 chronotypes? We, of course, know early birds, night owls, the larks and the meadow larks and the owls, or whatever they're taking. And it's broken down generally into 4 types of chronotypes. And these are the animals that Lori mentioned. And they're all unique to our internal clock. You have the dolphin, the wolf, the lion, and the bear. This slide, of course, gives a general idea, and I'll break each one down a little bit more. But each one of these chronotypes have different schedules and windows of productivity. Okay, so it's interesting to see kind of what percentage of the population each would fall into. And you get somebody like the dolphin, and they're light sleepers, and they suffer from insomnia. Small percentage of people are these dolphins. Then you have, on contrast, a bear, which is you're going to find a majority of the population, 50% of population being a bear, and they're generally productive mid-morning. The dolphin chronotype. This is the very rare chronotype. It's the hardest to create a schedule around. People with this chronotype have a difficult and troubled time finding a sleep schedule that works well for them. They tend to be very high intelligent, high strung, and very sensitive sleepers. They can be disturbed very simple and easily. They're generally really fragmented with their sleep and may suffer from insomnia. And it may not be just insomnia in itself, maybe just their sleep chronotype. Of course, there's good news for people with the dolphin chronotype. They have an excellent window of productivity, and they really are highly focused, mid-afternoon into the evening. I can think of primarily of a couple of friends of mine that follow this. They're high productivity windows, late sleepers. They like sleeping in a little bit. This is their primary type of person. And I'm sure we've met some of these people periodically. Of course, they may need to take mental recharges throughout the day just to keep their brain focused. The next one is the lion. Now, without going any farther, this is the one that I find that I relate to most. I'm the type of person that I don't like staying up too late. I do periodically just for circumstances, but I like going to bed fairly early, waking up early, and I feel most mentally focused early in the morning before noon. I feel like my brain is on point. Like if you were to ask me to do a test, if I was going to do an SAT, that's when I want to accomplish those. I'm an early to rise type. I don't know. I just have been that way. I tend to, be more productive in the mornings. And, the best way that I get my day started and other lions get their day started is having tasks to accomplish in the morning and getting things done. My wind down period in the afternoons and such is there's not my highlight of my world. I don't really like doing chores anywhere in the afternoon or in the evenings. It's just not my It's not my prerogative and not my forte. So I'm early to rise, early to bed, and I'm more of a lion. But there is a mixture. We'll talk about that. The bear chronotype. It is by far the most common. More than half the population or so should fall into this category. It kind of has it crosses a few different chronotypes. And like I said, you can be a little bit of everything. They have, generally mellow energy. They're extroverted. They like to wake up fairly early and go to bed not too late. And their focus is they're super on point midday. They're most productive before noon, and then by late afternoon, they're winding down and they're settling into their sleep phase. Their sleep-wake cycle is generally very on point with the sun. It would kind of be like somebody who had been a farmer. And a lot of people would recognize with this. This is, like I said, 55% of our population. And the last one is a wolf. These are night people. They are not a morning person. They're the person that you have to drag their butt out of bed. They drag butt like throughout the whole morning. The wolves are the hardest people to get into a real world sleep schedule because the world doesn't cater to them. Being that a huge majority of the population are functional during the day, tend to go to bed, not too late. This chronotype doesn't fit the majority of people. You would find a lot of these people, maybe computer programmers and stuff would be in this, as it says, the traits are going to be highly creative. So somebody who's like on a computer, they're up in the evening and the night. We work from home. They're very task oriented in the evenings, and they just sleep in. And that's just their gig. They're up late, up through the night, and sleep in. Now, can you change your chronotype? Let's go back. Now, simply put, no. There's a study out of Australia that was being done that was trying to get people to alter their chronotypes, and it was a 3-week study that had like 12 strict rules they had to follow. And like one of the most important ones that they had to follow is they had to have a wake time and stick to it like T. Just that's your wake time, you wake up then. And then they have to do all their exercises early. They would eat breakfast early. They would eat lunch earlier than they're supposed to do. They're basically doing everything earlier than they're supposed to. These are the people that were the night owls. They were trying to revert them back into a normal, like what would their normal schedule would be. And frankly, after a period of time, they only knocked them back a couple hours. It just really didn't get them to a completely different chronotype. And chronotype does shift with age. Of course, you see the kids that are waking up really early, like Christmas is coming. They're going to be knocking on the door at 4 o'clock in the morning to try to wake you out of bed so they can open their gifts. That kids tend to, and they fall asleep early. And then, as they're teenagers, they tend to stay up late and sleep late, there's a big sleep debate regarding when schools should start. Because obviously teachers and administrators and people at a school are adults. Most adults have a normal sleep routine and schedule. But when they're an adolescent, it's advanced. They're wanting to go to bed 4 hours later, wanting to sleep in 4 hours later. That's why you literally have to drag your kid out of bed, throw them in the shower so that they can actually perform during the day. And yeah, they're waking up super slow. What if you don't just fit into one? Chronobiology is complex. It's not an individual thing. We do have some morphing. We're not going to completely fit into one, but we're going to have some traits that are very strong to one. Being that the bear is the most common one, a lot of people can be kind of a hybrid and have a little bit of mixture of traits. One thing that I've seen in my world, in the sleep world, is that when a person retires and then they don't have to wake up, they don't have to get their world isn't as structured. They tend to go to sleep later and later and later and sleep in later and later and later. I had a conversation with a lady today who really is tired of waking up at 11 and noon, that late. And I gave her the This is how you would revert back your normal sleep pattern to try to get you to sleep at a normal, what would, or at least a more normal, regular time. And we settled at 9 a.m. as a wake time, which to a lot of people, that's sleeping in significantly. But compared to noon, she's going to have more of a day, and her sleep time is going to dictate her, or her wake time is going to dictate her time she falls asleep. So our sleep does change with age, and we do find ourselves in the middle of a transition period, and our world may be a little off as we age in our sleep cycles and sleep chronotype as well. Now, if you're struggling or between chronotypes, there's a few things that and tips that can help you get back into a regular routine. Eating at the right times is important. You want to avoid eating way too close to bedtime. You want to have your body a chance to digest and metabolize food. A carb-heavy dinner can help with sleep. It gives your digestive tract some more time to wind down. And of course, similar rules apply to breakfast. Eating a high protein breakfast can give you energy and jumpstart your day and morning. Some other things that we can focus on, of course, is the wonderful avoiding caffeine. Caffeine too close to bedtime can, of course, prevent you from getting to sleep. There's studies show that caffeine by itself can reduce your total sleep time by up to 42 minutes. 42 minutes could be an entire REM cycle for a person, which 41 minutes might not sound like a whole lot of sleep, but if you miss a REM cycle, that could be actually like 20% of your real sleep just because of how restorative that sleep is. Following a consistent sleep schedule that fits your chronotype. Okay. If you tend to just be this night owl, falling asleep at your normal, when you're tired schedule, it helps influence your sleep schedule. It helps get your circadian rhythms up and going. And if you're needing to adjust your sleep schedule, it's going to take time, but it's something to work with. And I mean, I wish I could write you a prescription that says your work will have to adjust with your sleep schedule, but we can't. It's not viable. You'll have to take that up with your boss. And of course, knowing your sleep schedule. Oh, come on, go back. Go back. Obviously, even if you know your chronotype and your sleep schedule, is still not immune to sleep disorders such as sleep apnea or insomnia, circadian rhythm disorders. Having any sort of physiological disorder with your sleep, you can try every manipulation and pill and follow protocols up the book, but if you don't breathe when you sleep, your sleep quality is just going to be poor and you're disrupted. So if you're really having a problem with sleep, contact our sleep doctors, contact somebody to help you out. And the last part is how to find your chronotype. What is your chronotype, right? There's 2 tests you can look into taking. You can search in Google. I have the links here. I'm not sure if you can click them or read them or anything, but in Google, there's the morningness, eveningness questionnaire. That'll select out your chronotype. And then the power of when quiz. There's a doctor that used to work here. His name is Dr. Bruce, and he put this together. He's a insomnia expert. He's a sleep expert. He has multiple publications. He has a new book that just came out. He has been on multiple different news sources, Dr. Oz, and multiple publications. He's been in Men's Health and Women's Health and a handful of different resources. So the power of whenquiz.com is another very helpful way to find what is my chronotype. Okay.